So my name is Raam Gururajan, and I will be your host today. So let us get started with this presentation. It's a Friday, so we'll make it as interactive and as informative as possible, as short as possible time. Within data science, what do we look for? What do the companies look for when they hire data science roles? Now, I'm not put any technicality here at all because that is going to be covered in the subsequent slide. But all I'm saying is, what is it that people look for? First, are they looking for problem-solving mind? Analytical in nature? Are they asking for people to code? Are they expecting people to have mastered many models that are available? Are they expecting the data skills, which means preparing the data, scripting them? Is that what they're expecting? So this is, if you see any job spec from companies, even though it may be a little bit diluted, you will see that in one way or the other, many of all this is going to be expected. Being analytical will help you question things mathematically. Being a problem solver always is needed for a data scientist. Your ability to code is a difference between a weak data scientist and a strong data scientist. If you understand models better, even if it is one model that you know, I always go by the saying, learn it very, very well. Okay? Don't learn 10 models and not know anything about them. That is very weak. Learn one model by one model, but master that one model very, very well. Okay? And then what about your data skills? Like I said earlier, we have to learn about data. We are there to learn data and build models by the data. Therefore, our ability to manipulate data. When I say manipulate, I'm talking about reading data from files, reading data from databases, changing them, updating them, and converting them to format that is processable by our models is very, very important. Okay. All right. So very specifically for coding roles. So if you're into coding, if you want to do some coding roles, data scientist, senior data scientist, lead data scientist, what sort of things are being needed? At the very minimum, number one, you need impeccable programming skills, at least in one language. One language, you should be a very, very strong programmer. C++ or Java or Python or R or MATLAB, whatever that language you have background in, become a master of that language. That is necessary because that programming language will stay with you and give you the confidence you need to write code elsewhere, whether it is in the same language or in a different language. Okay. Next, you need mastery and understanding of one of the data science languages, Python or R or MATLAB. Okay. Python is usually taught because it's a lot more evolved now, but R and MATLAB have also been existed the last 20 years. Okay. So one of those languages, you must have a very good understanding. Mastery over ML/DL models. So this is a very vast topic. Like I said, at least one or two models you should become a master of. People talk to me a lot about tree models. People talk to me a lot about probabilistic models and stuff. But when I question them on one of those models, they fall apart, stating they learned 10 models, but they are not a master of one. So here, our goal should be the master of one and not a jack of all trade. You cannot become jack of all trade in 1 year. It'll take you 10 years, 15 years to become very, very confident and good in various models applied. Okay. So therefore, master at least one model, if not two models, one from DL space, one from machine learning space. On top of it, definitely you need one database to be in your hand, whether it is an SQL database that you have already used or a NoSQL database. NoSQL databases are things like DynamoDB from Amazon or Mongo database. Okay, those two get discussed a lot. SQL databases, things like Oracle, Microsoft SQL, Maria SQL, so on and so on. Okay, take one of them and become very good with it. The other two skills that you need that I've written down here are you need to be able to script well, meaning whatever languages you do, you should be able to write very quick snippets of code to download some data from online, to quickly check if the data has certain discrepancies, to check if you want to reformat the data, clean the data, send it over to the modeling, or even to check whether the model performed very well. So all this would need scripting skills. So don't leave the scripting skill behind, because we cannot expect someone else to script for us. We have to become better at it. Lastly, have an open mind. Have an open mind to learn from others, because this is an industry that is evolving very fast. There are a million data scientists out there. Everybody is having their own GitHub repository. Everybody talks about various things in analytical forums and various other mediums and stuff. So one thing you should know is you should have an open mind to learn from others. Okay, so that was on coding roles. When you want to code in data science, that's kind of what you want to look for. What about things you need when you want to succeed in no-code roles? Which means you still want to be in data science, you still want to be in data intelligence and artificial intelligence, but you don't want to write code. Or at least you will not write a lot of code, okay? Then in that case, the first things first that stand out is you need exceptional problem-solving skills. Your ability to think through problems is very, very important for you to write quickly the flowcharts of what is the logic to solve this issue. You don't have to write code, but you should be able to write the flowchart of how to solve a problem and what kind of big modules you need to really solve the problem. The big modules will be either borrowed from big companies or will be borrowed from your own companies, different groups, okay? Next, you need one of these. I've just given this a sample. You need Azure ML, Machine Learning Studio, or KNIME, or something like a Dialogflow. If you are into chatbot building and stuff, there is nothing better than Dialogflow. That comes from Google. But one of these tools you should have a good understanding of, so that you can build models without writing a line of code. Both Azure ML and KNIME will let you do it comfortably, and I'm pretty sure there are other software also available. And some of the software does get covered as part of the electives in OdinSchool's course. Okay, so one tool you need with which you can solve problems where you don't have to write code, the tool will write the code for you. Okay, very good. What else you need? You still need sound database skills, because without good database skills, you cannot go and query that data, you cannot pull the data out, you cannot connect the dots, thus you will suffer. Therefore, having a database skill there is essential. So that is the only technicality that is needed from you when you want to take a no-code tools. And of course, again, lastly, I always put for this an open mind to learn from others. What else we need to succeed in this cloud era? Because the cloud has evolved everything in the last 15 years. What else we need as data scientists to really succeed? Definitely, we need awareness, understanding, if at all possible, on things like Azure or Amazon SageMaker. Because a lot of companies tap into these platforms so that they can quickly install, have data scientists do their job. So understanding Azure Studio or Amazon SageMaker will really help. These companies also offer you APIs where you can call the API, which is already a pre-built model to solve your problem. Okay, that is what I mentioned we will be doing when you're integrating models. Okay, and another thing that we need in this cloud era that we should be very good at is Unix skills. So if you're a Windows person, I want to wake you up now and tell you it is good time for you to learn Unix, because even Microsoft has acknowledged that Linux is important to their own life. Okay, so don't stick only with Windows for its convenience and stuff. Become a person who is aware of Unix, how it operates. We don't have to do any hardcore administration. We have to be aware, go into Unix, set up a Ubuntu, for example, in your laptops as a dual boot, and then try to play around with the command line, try to kind of list files, try to write small batch scripts and stuff, and become comfortable. That is more important. Instead of typing in dir in the command prompt, become comfortable being able to type ls-hell. Okay, so that is what I mean as becoming good in Unix skills. And it'll take you some time, but be with it. Thus, you are Unix friendly. That is important. And here again, like I said, in the cloud era, one thing we should know is for us to keep big databases, we cannot expect them to sit in our own companies always, because backups are needed for big databases, resilience is needed, RAID sort of technologies are all needed. So there's people usually rely upon cloud to keep data. Therefore, become good with at least one database, whatever the database of your choice. It doesn't have to be Enterprise Oracle, PL SQL Enterprise expertise. It can still be NoSQL like Mongo database or Maria database. Both are free. Okay, so learn them and become good at it. And lastly, again, be very clear. You can learn a lot from others.
To watch the full Odin Talks video, click on the link in the description.